wanted to just make a quick video update. So I got back from my neurologist appointment yesterday. I was able to look at my most current MRI and compare it to my last one, which was a 1.5 years ago. I had 3 new lesions, one really big one right in the middle of my brain, and then one kind of lower, sort of in the balance center of the brain, and then one further down the spinal cord, which I think is the one that's causing my Lermit sign, the electrical shocking kind of going down my spine. The big one in my brain, I think, is what's causing a lot of the numbness that I'm feeling, the muscle weakness, especially in my hands and in my legs. So I was able to actually see that, and was able to discuss with my doctor different treatment options. So I haven't been on any kind of disease modifying therapy for about 5 years. And I've been kind of on the fence if I want to go back on one, because I'm not opposed to doing meds. I've just been kind of taking care of it naturally, diet, lifestyle, that kind of stuff. And it's been working really well, but I just have not been as diligent, which I think is where my issues stem from. I just think I'd feel better if I had something else kind of as a backup measure. And so I've been really contemplating, thinking about going back on some kind of medication. The one I'm looking at is tecfidera, most likely, the one that I'm going to be, probably the one that's like the top runner of the meds that I'm looking at. It's one that I've been on before. I tolerated it well, and it's effective. It's got a good efficacy rating. I think it's supposed to cut lesions by, I want to say 70%, and don't quote me on that, but I think it was something about it cuts it by 70%, which is actually really good for an MS drug, because a lot of them are not that effective at cutting down rates of lesions. So and I just feel like for the last while my MS has been very active. I've been able to suppress it, I think, a lot through my lifestyle choices, but it's been difficult, and it's still even if I am really good on my diet and everything, it's not unusual for me to get a new lesion when I have an MRI done. But 3 I think is pretty unusual. I don't think I've had that many in that short of amount of time for a long time. So I'd feel better if I had, I think, a backup therapy to go with my kind of more natural approach. But I've been rereading this, highly recommend this. I've been trying to get these concepts deep into my brain, because, and to help me stay motivated, and also because it's just good to stay informed and remember this kind of stuff, especially when you have a chronic disease that you're going to live with for the rest of your life. I think it's just the best thing you can do is just arm yourself with knowledge and information and motivation to keep on fighting and doing the best you can to live the best you can. But a couple things that I've been researching and looking into and contemplating, thinking about a lot is, and he talks about in one of the early chapters, is this concept of remyelination. So when you have a flare-up, you've got that site that's been attacked, and those cells that have attacked the myelin, the fatty coating that's around the nerve, which is what causes the problems in MS. So, but during that time, the myelin or the nerve gets very inflamed, and it makes it difficult for nerve signals to be transferred between nerves when it's inflamed. And a lot of times, because they get inflamed, they affect the nerves around them, and then the other nerves don't work so well, and it just destroys that myelin sheath, that fatty covering. And the good news is that your body does heal, though. That myelin can remyelinate. and can come back. And he actually says in the book that this process of remyelination is actually a lot more prominent than what was previously thought. And just kind of doing a little research about remyelination, it seems to be something that you can influence through different mechanisms, things that you do during your flare-up. Certain vitamins that are really good for rebuilding that myelin. Biotin I know is good. B12 I know is good. Omega-3s are really good. You need those nutrients to help rebuild that myelin. Another thing he talks about in his book is the inflammatory response that happens in your body during a flare-up. And with people with autoimmune disorders, especially MS, we tend to be prone to inflammation. And so he calls this like a switch that you can turn on and off. So the inflammation is turned on, the response is on while after your nerves are attacked by your white blood cells. You get the switch flipped on, and then your body starts the inflammation process. And he calls this the Th1 response. But there's an off switch to this. He calls it the Th2 response. He says the immune system is a balance between the Th1 response and the Th2 response, between inflammation and turning off inflammation. He talks about different environmental factors that have an effect on the different responses. So those that are prone more to the Th1 response, the inflammatory response, would have like risk factors like too much saturated fat in your diet, not enough omega-3 fatty acids in your diet. Talks about like depression, obesity, stress, those kinds of things can all kind of trigger that inflammation response in your body. And you want to try and get that switch flipped to the other response, the Th2 response, so that the inflammation gets turned down. And that's what I've been trying to do during my episode, is trying to get my inflammation down. So it talks about vitamin D, omega-3s, meditation, exercise, trying to stay like low stress, and also just trying to get in some of those anti-inflammatory foods, vegetables, fruit, nuts and seeds, especially those that are higher in omega-3s, and get that Th2 response going in your body so that you can get that inflammation down, and then your body can really start remyelinating and healing so that you can get over that flare-up. So that's what I've been really trying to implement, trying to get my inflammation down. I'm hoping doing that through the things that I've been doing: intermittent fasting, eating lots of fruits and vegetables, trying to stay as low stress as possible. All those things I think are going to help with that whole process of getting my inflammation down and getting this cleared up as soon as possible. But got to be patient, because it didn't happen overnight, so it's not going to just go away overnight. And it's important to stick with it and not get discouraged, and just trust that it'll be okay. The body's going to heal. It'll be okay. Trying to stay close to the Lord during this time, trying to meditate on scripture, and trying to stay positive. All those things are gonna be for my good, and I know that. If you're in a similar situation, don't give up hope. Just keep fighting. That's why they call us warriors. And stay strong. Thanks for watching.